Zell Boy Army, welcome to another spicy one on the channel. In this video, I'm going to go through the tactics I used this weekend league. In the end, I ended up going 15-5 and just missing out on rank 1. But when you consider how bad my team is, like Immobile was the most useless donkey I think I've ever played with this weekend. He just could not play. Weekend league gameplay was definitely worse than Rivals gameplay. Considering the team, I think 15 wins is pretty good. If I'd have had like my proper team, I'd have probably won every game based on the games I played. And for the first time ever, I went 0-2 at the start of the weekend league. So I went 15-3 in my last 17 games, and I was 0-2 using my 4-3-1-2 tactics. I do honestly believe in those tactics. I mean, I've played in the elite division and won lots of games with them, but in bad gameplay, they just do not work. So I ended up changing 2 games in to some 4-4-2 tactics, which this video is going to be all about. And from there, if I'd have played the whole weekend league in the 4-4-2, I would have got rank 1 with a very average team. Like this team's, if you take out Lorente, is worth like 100k, which is really bad. Lorente is the only like top player in this team. I'm never playing another weekend league with Immobile. This guy was absolutely useless and probably cost me the rank 1 on himself. I also ended up losing the last game. The last game, if I'd have won the last game, I'd have got rank 1. I was against like a 6-mil team. So this game I don't think is as paid to win as others, but there is a point where like if you are stuck with players like Mobile, you are going to be very limited. But let's show you the tactic. So I've shown you the ultra defensive, the defensive, the ultra attacking in another video. You can go watch that if you want to see some of those. The 4-2-3-1 I do like as a general tactic to start, but I wanted a more aggressive tactic that still is pretty good to play most of the game. So we switched up to the 4-4-2. Last year, I would always recommend you play this version with CDMs. Simply put, on FIFA 21, if you had the CDM version, your CDMs protected the edge of the box so much better. Whereas on this year's game, it doesn't matter as much. They seem to protect it fine. They seem to have fixed that, and they give you a little bit more going forward. So I'd prefer the centre mid version now after testing around with it a bit. The main strengths of the 4-4-2 are pretty obvious. It's very well balanced. You have 2 strikers. You can get players in behind the wing. You've got a flat back 4. The second bank of 4, so the midfield, left mid, right mid, and 2 centre mids can line up in front of your defence and protect it. It's a very well-rounded, solid formation. The biggest weakness would probably be there's no cam between the strikers and centre mid, so the link-up could be a bit harder at times. But with how good driven passes are at the moment, it doesn't really matter too much. I think one of the key positions in this compared to some formations is the midfield. So for this team, having Lorente in there is very useful. But it's just a really good formation that the reason the 4-3-1-2 for me just wasn't working in the delayed weekend league gameplay was that having fullbacks on overlap width to give me width, which you need, just got me caught out. Whereas this, I can leave my defence back and they do the job. If I was struggling in a game but goal down, I would pause it and switch to a press after possession loss. Unfortunately, you can't have more than 4 tactics, so I'd have to pause it, but you have 3 pauses, so it's fine. But generally speaking, for the most part, this was the way I ran it. Decent width, but not changed too much. 50 depth. If you've got a slow defence, you could lower it. If you've got a fast defence, or you just want to be more aggressive, you could up it. Build up play, balance, chance creation, balanced. For me, it's one of these where I don't think some of these, like if you change them a tiny bit, make a big difference, but build up play, chance creation, they do. For me, the default tactic, I pretty much only use balanced. I think, not to excuse the pun, but it is literally the most balanced, so it's what I would like to use more. By the way, we will show some actual gameplay clips, some of the goals I was scoring in this tactic. Chance creation, balanced. I think a lot of these go hand in hand together. So if you played slow build up, possession works quite well. If you played forward ones, fast build up works quite well. If you played long ball, direct passing works quite well. There are different ways of playing. I just think as a default way of playing, balance is pretty good. I lower the width to try to make sure I still have plenty of options in the middle. You can up it though and spread the ball out wide more. Decent amount of players in the box and corners and free kicks. For my strikers, I just have them on stay forward. Sometimes if you have them on balanced width, they can drift out wide and the left mid, right mid might come inside. My centre mid, cover centre, that was the only thing I changed. If you had a very limited defensive player, let's say like an Ndidi, Zakaria, you might want to just put them on cut passing lanes. Is that thing in CDM in centre mid actually? No, it's not. You'd probably just put them on stay back and just let them be an ag command. Whereas when I've got two all round midfielders, I put them on balanced. For the wingers, I put them on comebacks. I want them to help defend. I put them on getting behind. Getting behind, obviously, use the pace out wide to stretch teams. Stay back on my fullbacks. I've one centre back, the worst physical one, who's not going to be as good sweeping up through balls, on step up. I find that really helps dealing with the finesse shots quite a bit. And that is the tactic. Very balanced. Works with bad teams. It'll work even better, obviously, with a great team where you've got top players across the pitch. I think it's a very solid, consistent, balanced formation. Let's show some gameplay of how it actually defends, how you score goals, some of the attacking patterns of it in game. For the gameplay clips, I've recorded these live from my Twitch stream this weekend, so you can see my actual webcam and overlay on there. That was from the stream, so you're not going to see my actual live face now. I'm just going to talk you through them. So the 4-4-2, one of the things that is very good at, if people don't defend it properly or leave any gaps, is counter-attacking. Simply put, when you have a left mid, a right mid on getting behind, and two central strikers that you can trigger runs with L1. If one player gets pulled out and leaves a gap in the defense, unless they're playing five at the back, which most people aren't, as far as I'm aware right now on FIFA, I'm not seeing it a lot, there's going to be a gap and you're going to get a good chance for it. So let's watch how we attack it. So you can see it, there's not even a massive gap, but I pass it to the striker, and now this guy has come along to track here, so I've got an easy pass to Carrasco, who's running out wide. You can see now I've got two options. I can either go down the wing and try to do a cutback around there, or I can do the very meta thing on this FIFA. Cut inside and green time the finesse. Now, with the new patch coming, this could hurt the 4-4-2 because one of the main strengths of the 4-4-2 is the ability to cut inside and do the finesses. The finesses are absolutely crazy on this year's game at the moment, and if you have a decent finisher at left mid or right mid to cut in, these are going to be amazing. Like, that just absolutely flies and the keepers don't do anything about it. So I would definitely, in this formation, look to cut in with your left mid and right mid a lot. Right footer on the left and a left footer on the right. This formation is fantastic and one of the best in the game right now for creating it, especially when you've got two strikers who occupy the defenders to give the left mid and right mid more room. Like I said, this could change quite a bit if the patch really does nerf the finesse, we have to see, but that is one of the great ways of attacking in the 4-4-2. In this clip here, I'm going to show you one of the great things about the 4-4-2 is when a midfielder gets involved and the amount of attacking options you've got. So you can see here, we've gone out wide to Dybala. I'm cutting in on the left, green time finesse. Quite often that would go in. I maybe should have taken a touch that way instead of that way, just to get myself a bit better angle. But the keeper makes a good save off of it. Now I've got it with Carrasco out wide. You can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 men in the box. We've got Marcus Llorente there lurking around, who's one of my midfielders. My other midfielder stays there. Quite often, one of the midfielders will stay back and the other will just float around, which is nice. You can see there, I'm trying to create some space. We'll watch this back because sometimes the video software does that. Create some space here. And now, look, not a lot on, but Llorente makes this great run from deep. Better players will do this more often because they've got better movement. Pass it across the box here. And it ends up being a nice, easy goal. That's all come from having lots of options in the 4-4-2. I've got the width. That's come from nearly scoring the finesse. And then my centre mid runs from deep and gives us a nice, easy goal. The last clip I want to show here is one that shows some of the defensive shape of the 4-4-2 and why it's very hard to break down. And then another counter-attack and the overload of options this formation gives you. So here we go. Opponent's just taking kickoff. He's trying to go forward. Now look here. You can see here we've got the flat four. Right mid, centre mid, left mid. They're occupying the middle. If you want the right mid and left mid stretch out a bit more, you just up the width on your defence. Here now, you can see Skriniar stepped up. That's his instruction. Whilst Koulibaly is... If you ever play Football Manager, this is a bit like the stopper and cover type role. You can see here, it's a bit more aggressive. I press him there to try and make sure he can't pass there. And then he ends up passing it, but he goes straight to Alba. Now, I've got a counter-attack on. I go out wide. Maybe there I should have taken a touch, but this ends up working anyway. So I've gone out wide. use his pace, and now, because of how good keepers, I wanted to get a guaranteed goal. I do the double tap across goal to my right mid, and it's a pretty easy finish. It doesn't look it, but on this game, volleys from there, they're never going to miss. And that's all come from a clean counter. Team set up in a really nice shape, hard to break down. You can see here the two flat banks for. Be a bit aggressive at the right time. Go out wide here. It's going out wide, creates space, pulls defenders out. Look like I might shoot, pass it across, nice easy goal, and that's countered. And 2-0 to 3-0 pretty much kills the game. Hopefully, guys, that's shown you how this tactic can be effective and useful. I'm going to be getting lots more gameplay clips over the next week or two now that I've really started to learn the game. Appreciate you guys watching. Keep it spicy, and I will see you in the next one.